I know you have probably experienced this before. You play ranked, and one game you're owning and loving the game, and then the next you're wondering why you even played Valorant today. Sometimes you just wonder why you can't have the good games more consistently instead of the constant roller coaster of emotions that is ranked. What is going on, ProGuides family? It is your host Sergeant Frost, and today we are going to talk about 8 reasons why you can't seem to rank up. There's a lot to talk about in this one, so don't forget to like and subscribe. And let's get into the action. But first of all, let's get to the question of the day. Today's question is, why do you think you're hard stuck? And if you're not, what allows you to consistently climb? I'm really interested in knowing what you guys think. And I think opening up about why you're not climbing or why you're successful in game is a great way for people to become more aware of their gameplay. Anyways, let's jump right into the video. One of the first reasons for why you might have inconsistent games is a bad habit that is sort of also a conscious decision, and that is not warming up properly before you play. One of the worst mistakes competitive players can make before hopping into ranked games is not warming up properly. Warming up is something that every player should incorporate into their daily routine before playing for personal performance sake. As coaches of ProGuides, we've all heard the excuses that players give us for why they don't warm up. From the classic, I play better when I don't warm up, to the tried and true, I just don't have time to warm up before I play. But warming up is scientifically proven to improve performance in traditional sports, and I'm sure that we can all agree that warmed up aim feels a lot better than cold aim. We understand that warming up every single time before you play can be monotonous, time-consuming, and sometimes straight up boring. But it is a part of your playtime that you need to stay consistent with if you want to have consistent in-game performances, and if you want to feel like your aim isn't what's holding you back. Warming up can vary from player to player. Some players enjoy using aim trainers such as Kovacs or Aim Labs to keep their mouse control sharp and their hand-eye coordination on point. These aim trainers are great ways to warm up, and you also can train your aim as well if you want to. Another way players can warm up, and this is my preferred method of getting ready for games, and that is using the in-game functions to help warm up your aim. Personally, I like to warm up by destroying 300 bots in the range on hard mode, and then after that I play a couple death matches before hopping into ranked. One of the best ways to warm up in Valorant is with deathmatch. This routine can take me anywhere between 30 minutes to an hour, but I can see a night and day difference in my play when I warm up compared to when I don't. One of the key things that warming up does that will help you stay consistent is that it wakes up and trains your muscle memory in your hands and wrists. That's why if you've been warming up lately due to whatever reason, I suggest that you get back on it in order to keep your gameplay ready for the climb. Another one of the biggest reasons that we find why players don't rank up is due to having a negative attitude in game. Having a bad mental, a negative attitude, or just straight up being unnecessarily toxic is one of the biggest factors for why a lot of players don't rank up. Let's first talk about the negative effects playing with a toxic attitude will have on yourself. Playing with a negative attitude first and foremost will put you in a bad mindset in game, and that will prohibit you from thinking clearly during a round. Not being able to think clearly is a mental gatekeeper that prevents many players from reaching their true potential while playing in game. For instance, not thinking clearly can cause you to lose a fight because you weren't focused on the game, but instead on arguing with a teammate. Or you might zone yourself out and miss a crucial call out that ends up getting you killed for no reason. A lot of people don't realize how easy it is to induce self-tilt, and self-tilt can be a big reason why you end up making a lot more mistakes, and generally end up playing a lot worse when tilted. Playing with a negative attitude over long periods of time can negatively impact your mental health outside of the game as well. I've seen many gamers over the years who let video games shape their personalities, get personally impacted by years of tilt and toxicity, and it ruins their social lives and how they socially interact with other people as well. Learn how to control yourself and learn anger management techniques if you often find that your ranked tilt is starting to affect your mental health or personality outside of the game. Now, let's bring the conversation back to why having a negative attitude will be a detriment to your own team. Playing with a negative attitude can extend beyond yourself as well. Talking in a bad tone, refusing to cooperate with teammates, and arguing with teammates and being toxic can quickly make your teammates turn on you in a match. It's not uncommon in Valorant ranked for everyone to be friends in the agent select screen, and then after losing the first 2 rounds, everyone turns on each other and then the toxicity begins, and everyone ends up molding and reporting each other. There have been instances I have seen where a teammate completely goes off and is toxic towards another one of my teammates to a point where said teammate then gives up on the game and either goes AFK and leaves, or they start trolling and trying to throw the match to punish everyone. It's no fun at all to have your time wasted because one player that got super tilted decides to hold a game hostage and troll, just to screw over his toxic teammates. After playing years of online video games, I have seen this very situation happen too many times across many different video game titles. No one wants to lose a game because a player can't keep his temper in check, or because people can't get along with each other. So if you're feeling in a bad mood one day, try to stay self-aware about your emotional well-being. Plus, in my opinion, Valorant Ranked is not the place to spend your time if you're feeling under the weather. The next reason for why you can't rank up is a reason that I think causes a lot of otherwise skilled players to be stuck in lower ranks. And that problem is that they often become a spectator in their own games and they don't even realize it. What I mean by that is, you aren't making impactful plays, being proactive to win your team rounds, and taking the risk to carry your teammates. Being a spectator is something that every player regardless of rank does from time to time, but it can manifest itself in more ways than you think. For instance, you could be a player who only plays supportive characters, and you refuse to get involved with the round outside of using your abilities, or just taking pot shots in the back. Being a spectator could also mean that you just sit idly in one area of the map and passively wait for the enemy to make a mistake and walk into your crosshair, while your team is trying to execute a sight. Some players who find themselves crushing with the operator or Odin will often find themselves playing passive angles and wait for the fight to come to them. Anything from feeling the pressure of ranked to feeling like you can't risk dying can turn you from otherwise an impactful player into a non-factor in game. I know that sometimes it's scary to go for a big read, or put yourself up first to win your team the round. But one thing for sure is that if you don't break out of the comfort zone and push your limits, you'll never be able to see your real potential in game. I will admit that this can be a hard habit to fix, because playing too passively is a subconscious decision that your brain makes, and it's often hard to recognize it. With that being said, this is also a reason for why if you feel like you can't control the outcome of your ranked games, or if you're not as impactful as you'd like, I highly recommend you come talk to some of our Radiant and Immortal level coaches on ProGuides.com, who are trained to help you improve at every level. We always have something that we're trying to improve on, and it makes things a lot easier to have your mentor or second voice give you advice. And if you're watching this video, then I feel like you're probably a hard worker who's giving it their all to climb the ladder. So let us help you out in the process. Just click the description and the link below if you're interested, and I'll see you at the top soon. One of the biggest things that players of all ranks do that prevents them from ranking up is mismanaging their economy. Mismanaging your economy can mean multiple things, including force buying for no reason, buying an unnecessary expensive weapon that the round doesn't call for, tilt buying without your team, and not paying attention to your team's ultimate economy and your enemy's ultimate economy as well. We have to admit, learning how to micromanage your economy is a skill that comes over time with the experience of playing, so most players won't master it initially. Learning how to buy with the team and buying what the team needs is the biggest learning point here. If your team is trying to build up, then budget yourself to a light buy so that you aren't pinching pennies in the full buy round. I know that some players like to constantly be on the edge of having no credits by constantly buying sheriffs and specters, only to have a phantom light armor on the rounds where the team is full buying. Swallow your pride and save with your team, just so that your buys in future rounds won't be compromised in case you die. A common way to snowball round losses in a game is to create a broken economy between your team, as you won't have rounds where your whole team is ready to fight back at full force. Your economy is tied to your team's economy, so learning how to collaborate with your team to manage buys will allow you to win a lot more games than you think. This next reason for why players don't rank up is a function of the game that is not utilized enough to escape problematic games before they happen, and that is refusing to dodge when necessary. Let's just say your team had 3 insta-lock duelists, and no one is speaking a word. Realistically, this game is probably not going to be a good one, so it might be better to sit it out. Dodging is a tool that can be used to protect your elo from bad games before they even happen. And let's be honest, a lot of games are lost in agent select. Whether that be if your team has a bad comp, someone goes AFK from the very start, or if your teammates don't get along well and are already starting to be toxic with each other before the first round begins. Learning to pick up on red flags in agent select will allow you to avoid a lot of games that are already lost before they even begin. Remember, it's more ideal to lose -3 LP for dodging than potentially losing -25 for getting stomped in a game. To be fair, it's hard to let go of your hard-earned rank rating just because your team doesn't look too good in agent select. So I'm not saying to dodge any suspect games, but if you're praying that someone else dodges a game for you, then that's when you have to be willing to take the L and just dodge if necessary for yourself. Dodging is a natural part of solo queue, and it's a system meant to help you in cases where the odds are stacked too much against you. Dodging a bad game that's waiting to happen not only will help you save rank rating in the long run, but it will also keep you from tilting for future games in your play session as well. Our 6th reason for why you're not climbing is that too many players focus too much on their KDA while playing. Fixating on a good KDA is another psychological issue that many players suffer from at some point in their ranked careers. Focusing on your own frags and how you're playing in a match can inadvertently tilt you depending on your performance. As a player, your sole focus and priority should be on doing whatever it takes to win a game. I know that means that you need to be a selfless person at times, and that can be hard to do in a match full of randoms who won't appreciate your sacrifices, but if you want to secure the W, it's a necessary play. Fixating on KDA can hold you back from making these necessary sacrifices to win the round, because you'll be thinking more about the performance rather than the big picture. To be perfectly frank, KDA still matters to an extent to represent your impact on a game, but I think people place too much importance on it to a point where they miss out on all the other plays to win the game, like being a good IGL, an awesome support, or just being there to help your teammates to trade out. If you're feeling down at times because your personal performance is suffering, try to prevent yourself from checking the scoreboard and focus more on how you can win each round instead. Before you know it, you'll be back at the top and carrying your team to victory. This next reason for why you don't rank up, I feel on a personal level as an adult that plays video games, and that is playing while tired. Okay, let me preface this section by saying that I don't want to be someone who tells other people how to live their lives, but playing video games at night owl hours in the late night will not help you perform better at all. Playing during the late night hours is usually when you're tired and fatigued, and this can negatively impact your gameplay in more ways than one. Being mentally drained and fatigued can make you lose focus in game and cause you to make stupid avoidable mistakes that can cost your team a match. Playing video games while tired can impact you negatively physically as well. Muscle fatigue is real and it will affect you heavily if you continue to play while tired often. For instance, muscle fatigue can cause your aim to be slower and less accurate. It can cause your fingers to lose precision, which can make you fat finger keys or just miss key presses altogether. It also can cause you to talk less since you feel a lack of energy, which can lead to you not communicating or making crucial callouts. Let's keep it real, playing while tired is never a good idea. And while I know for many adult gamers playing at night is their only option, it still might not be the best option for you if you find that playing while tired or during the late night hours can cost you your in-game performance. Instead, it might be better to rest up before a ranked session, or make sure you only play when you're feeling rested, and training instead on days where you feel very tired. For our last reason on why you can't rank up, let's talk about another bad mindset that handicaps a lot of lower elo players especially, and that is focusing too much on other people. Let's keep it real, we all deal with some really bad teammates every once in a while. It sucks when you feel like you're in loser's queue constantly, and every game just feels like a struggle. Yet focusing too much on how your teammates are bad, or how your teammates are holding you back only leads to a pity party that you won't achieve much. Sometimes it's good to vent and feel annoyed due to your team, but you have to keep the focus on factors that you actually can control in game, which is your own gameplay. By focusing too much on other players, you risk wasting time that could have been spent on improving your own gameplay, or mentally resetting to play better the next game. You'll likely never meet these players ever again, so it's not worth it to waste your energy thinking about them rather than thinking about yourself. Well guys, that's all we have for this video. If you did enjoy, do make sure to leave a like and subscribe. And don't forget to visit our website ProGuides.com for the best courses as well as the top ranked coaches. This has been your host Sergeant Frost, and I'll see you all again in the next one.